discussing about international monetary system, and we said that it's a system that facilitates foreign exchange transactions between the nations, and the system is very much applicable to the financial environment that is that is present in an international context, right? So international monetary system refer to the operating system of financial environment, which will consist of financial institutions, multinational corporations, investors. These are broadly, and the investors, of course, it can be small scale investors or large scale investors. It can be individuals who are planning to invest in the foreign market in a foreign country, right? So all these together, we say that as international monetary system. Now we are going to one of the integral part of international monetary system, which is foreign exchange market. Foreign exchange market is otherwise called as Forex or abbreviated as FX. Okay. And when we talk about the transactions that is happening in an international market, it primarily includes conversion of one currency, say domestic currency to a foreign currency. And this conversion is said to happen in a foreign exchange market. Okay, so for example, I have put as an example here, euro being converted into US dollar, or it can be Indian rupee being converted into euro or yen, or as any other currency as pound sterling, right? And that is why we say that every time these transactions happen in pairs, in the sense there would be one more currency which is associated with this conversion. It can be one or more than one. So for example, Indian rupee being converted partially into part of it being converted into dollar, part of it being rupee, into yen, or maybe pound sterling, right? So that conversion happens in pairs. There would be another currency, another country's currency, which is applicable, which is being, the domestic currency being converted into that foreign currency. And then we said that foreign exchange market broadly can be categorized into two types. One is spot market, another one is derivative market. Spot market is the one, this is happening, the conversion is happening in the present moment, in the present current scenario. Like if I said the example that if I want to, I'm planning for an international travel, or maybe I'm planning to make an investment in a foreign country, generally what I have to do is I have to convert my domestic currency into the currency that is applicable or acceptable in that nation. So maybe dollar being a world accepted currency, I could use dollar. If I am a US citizen, maybe this conversion may not be a matter for me. But being an Indian citizen, if I have to make an investment in some of the foreign countries, I might have to convert my domestic currency, Indian rupee, into the foreign currency where I have to travel or make my investment. So that's why this is said to happen in, it can happen in a spot market. When I'm planning for a travel, generally that will happen in a spot market because immediately I'm in requirement of money. So what I do is I will just look into the foreign exchange rate prevailing in that day. I will convert my currency into the so-called national currency which I need. So that is what we call as a spot market. And the rates available in the spot market will be fluctuating depending on the demands and supply in the foreign market. The second part which we were trying to discuss was about the derivative market, which is a future market. See, suppose I was telling the example about me being an exporter, expecting a payment from my counterparty in a foreign country in future. Naturally, I also have a threat of fluctuation in the currency. I'm expected to receive the my payment in US dollar, and if there is a fluctuation in the rate, it can affect my actual benefit, the sum total of what I receive from my trade. So what I can do is I can hedge against the fluctuation in the currency through derivative market, through different instruments like forward, future, option, or swap, depending on my my interest, right? So that is why this derivative market is helping me to hedge
So, in our today's class, we are going with the continuation of our discussion about economic institutions. So first, let's have a recap
One second.
of the institutions.
You know what is that? The conversion got over, so it got played automatically. I'm really sorry. Okay, so yes, if it is in a derivative market, it will be like we are hedging against the risk of fluctuation in the price of the currency. So that also is possible. That is said to happen in a future market, or as we say, derivative market. So there are two types of market. One is spot market, another one is derivative market. And spot market is for immediately satisfying the requirement by converting. That's why I put spot means cash market. The other name for that is cash. Immediately conversion is happening at the rate prevailing in the market. Maybe morning, if I ask the bank or the agency where I'm converting my money, would say, okay, this is the rate where you can get dollar for 72.33. Normally it is expressed in two decimals. Currency conversion rate is expressed in two decimals. So they might say 72.33. Afternoon, when I check, maybe the rates can increase or decrease based on the demand available in the market. Suppose the demand for dollar got increased, then automatically I might have to pay like 73.1 or 73.12 depending on the demand. So that's what we call as the spot market. Now, going with the functions, the primary functions of foreign exchange market can be categorized into three. Okay, the first one is transfer function, the second one is credit function, and the third one is hedging function. When I talk about transfer function, it is actually helping me to transfer my purchasing power, my ability to purchase assets from a domestic context to an international context. Suppose if I had no option to convert my domestic currency into a foreign currency, my purchasing power would have been limited to the domestic environment, right? In India, if I have to use, no, of course, there are card payments, credit card payments, online transfers. That underlying principle here also in this context is Visa. So if you have an international card, you can you can make the payment online through your using your credit cards, or if you have an international applicable international account, in that case also you can use your debit card for making the payments. But back end, what is happening is the conversion of one currency to another. When you get the statement, they will say, okay, at what rate there was a conversion of your what we say the Indian rupee to whichever currency which you are converting. So that purchasing power is the primary function of every foreign exchange market, which is enabled through conversion of one currency to another. So that's a primary function, transfer function. Second one is credit function. When I'm talking about credit function, what happens here is as a firm, as a multinational corporation, before the existence of an active foreign exchange market, I was able to procure my financing support only from the domestic market. Now, having a flourished or well-established foreign exchange market, I have enough possibilities of getting financial assistance from different parts of the world. If some investors, some international investors, if they are interested in my business, in my idea, in my firm, as we say, we can invite their investments through different different channels, maybe as foreign direct investment, maybe as lending loan by taking financial assistance from a foreign bank, or the possibilities have increased for me to meet my financial requirements through an active foreign exchange market. And the third one I had already explained, it's hedging function. That is, earlier I had a choice of making my investments only in my domestic, only in my national country, but Now I have an option to go abroad and say I can enlarge my portfolio by having international investments. I can take the political risk and other types of risks which are prevailing in different countries. Taking care of that, I can just scatter my investments so that my risk against the fluctuation in the value of assets, fluctuation in the value of currency, risk against the repayment of the investments, all these can be mitigated or shared with a wider participation. That again is another function of foreign exchange market. Okay, so these are the primary three functions of foreign exchange market. One, transfer function, where I am able to extend my purchasing power by the scenario of conversion of local currency to an international currency. Two, credit function, where I am able to get financial assistance not only from the domestic market but also from the international market. Three, I am in a position to as we say, extend my portfolio to wider assets by making investments in international markets also, which is helping me to hedge against the risk which I would be facing, maybe because of the fluctuation in the value of the assets. Okay, so these are the three functions of foreign exchange market. Now, going ahead, already we mentioned about the participants in foreign exchange market, but when you look from, as you try to list it out, we can say that we have commercial banks, foreign exchange brokers who facilitate this conversion, currency conversion, or dealer transactions, all these. We have central banks of different nations, which would be engaged in formulating policies for foreign exchange management in a particular country. Then we have multinational corporations who are actually the beneficiaries of this foreign exchange market, who come into market to do business. And of course, we have a smaller portion of individuals and small business which are also participating in the international foreign exchange market through various activities, like maybe small scale industry trying to sell the products in an international market. Say you can think the example of handicraft industry, right? They might be a small scale industry, SSI units registered in India. They might be selling exclusively to a foreign market. Like, and there is also individuals, when you travel to a foreign country, you are representing, and as an individual, you are taking the benefit of foreign exchange market by converting currency, one currency to another. Apart from that, you might be individual investors. So all these are the major participants in foreign exchange market. Now, I have already said the segments of foreign exchange market can be broadly classified into spot market and forward market. In case of spot market, immediate transactions are happening. In case of forward market, the primary aspect that is taken care is hedging against the fluctuation in the price of the asset. And in this case, the underlying asset generally would be the foreign currency. Okay. And of course, exchange rate, we also already said the concept of exchange rate. This is exchange rate is the value of one nation's currency versus the currency of another nation. Say, for example, when I say I can procure Indian rupee with $1 with 72 Indian rupee, so that is what I call as exchange rate. The rate of conversion of Indian rupee to dollar is 72. I have to give 72 rupees to get $1. Right, so that's what we call as the exchange rate. That's why I have put a question: how many Indian rupee does it take to buy $1? That's the concept of exchange rate. Now, going with exchange rate quotations, very, very important to understand the logic behind that, because normally students often confuse regarding that. It's very simple. There are only two types of quotations: direct quotation and indirect quotation. And what you have to understand is, when one unit of foreign currency is expressed in terms of domestic currency, that is called as direct quotation, and the reverse is indirect quotation. When one unit of domestic currency is expressed in terms of foreign currency, that is what we call as indirect quotation. As you can see, I have quoted an example for direct and indirect. This is today's rate, 74.15. Morning when I checked, this was the rate. Maybe now the rate could have changed. No, the markets have just started. more or less this rate would be prevailing in the market. 74.15 per dollar is direct. US, India. How many, right? How many, one foreign currency to how many domestic currency? So that is 74.15 per dollar. So that is what we call as the US to India, right? That's what we call as direct quotation. And the reverse is US, the reverse is indirect quote, where as we say, when we compare, that is when one unit of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. Here we say that 0.0134 India to US dollar, where we are saying that it is just Indian rupee is just the value of dollar is more, right? That is why this will happen in decimal. So 1 Indian rupee is just 0.0134 of dollar, right? The other direct quotation is we want to get, so we have to give 74.15 for $1. The reverse, Indian rupee is just, since the value is less, okay, so Indian rupee is just 0.0134 to dollar. Now, how did I get this? 1 by 74.15. Okay, so that's it. Regarding the exchange rate quotation. Exchange rate quotations can happen in two ways. One is direct quotation and indirect quotation. When one unit of foreign currency is expressed in terms of domestic currency, we call that as the direct quotation, and the vice versa is the indirect quotation. Now, the most important concept which you have to know about foreign currency accounts. Anyway, this is the definition that is that has been a part of the foreign exchange agreement from our country's perspective. For us, a foreign currency account means an account held or maintained in a currency that is not the currency of India or Nepal or Bhutan. Even though the rupee value is different, but it's written in our foreign exchange agreement like this. The foreign currency account means any account held in foreign currency that is not the currency of India, Bhutan, or Nepal. So that's what we mean by foreign currency account. Okay. Now, the next one is Nostro account. There are three types of accounts which is connected with foreign currency account. One is Nostro, the second one is Vostro, the third one is Loro. All these are Latin words. Okay, Nostro, Vostro, Loro. Now I'm going to explain with pictorial representation of what it is. Please listen to me very carefully. Nostro is the Latin word which means our account with you. Okay, it refers to an account that a domestic bank holds in a foreign currency in a foreign bank. Okay, a domestic bank holds an account in a foreign bank in a foreign currency. That's Nostro. That's why it is said our account with you. Our account with you means, say I have put an example as SBI having an account with Citibank of USA in a foreign currency. That is called as Nostro account. So that's why I marked it like that. SBI to Citibank in foreign currency would be called as Nostro. Okay. Now, Vostro is very easy. It is yours. Okay. So the reverse. When I'm talking from the perspective of India, this is all Indian context. Okay. From our domestic, from our national scenario. Now, Vostro is, here it is, Citibank. A foreign bank with a domestic bank in a domestic currency is US. Vostro is Latin word which means yours. So your account with us in our currency. That's what we call as Vostro. Your account with us in our currency, which is called as a Vostro. So Citibank opening an account with SBI in the domestic currency, which will be called as Vostro. That's what I've written. Citibank opened a current account with SBI in Indian rupee in India. This is called as Vostro account. Okay. So Nostro is our account with you in your currency, in the foreign currency. Vostro is your account with us in the domestic currency. That's it. You can just remember it through this pictorial representation. And Loro, no, for bank test and all, they normally ask this: what is a Vostro account? What is a Loro account? What is a Nostro account? So it's very easy to remember. Now, Loro account is our account of their money with you. That's the meaning of this. Our account of their money with you, which means it's very easy to understand. The current account maintained by one domestic bank, in this example, SBI, for another domestic bank, that is maybe Punjab National Bank with Citibank, which is called as the Loro account. That can be an arrangement that is made between, sometimes SBI is just having a collaboration with the foreign bank. Punjab National Bank may not be having, even though they have it. I'm just, for the example's sake, I'm just putting it. So in that case, what happens here is SBI is opening an account in the name of Punjab, in SBI's name, but for the money is from, it is an internal arrangement that is made between SBI and Punjab National Bank, and the money is deposited in Citibank. Okay, so it is a current account maintained by domestic bank, one domestic bank, say SBI, for another domestic bank, say PNB, in a foreign bank, in a foreign currency. So that will be called as a Loro account. So SBI's Nostro account is used by PNB for its correspondence. This is referred to as Loro account by Punjab National Bank. Okay, so in the context of you might be wanting to ask, why should they do that? Why Punjab Bank can open an account over there? Maybe the case is they may not have as we say, an association with the foreign bank. Say they want to open an account here, Citibank. Maybe Punjab Bank is not having an association for with Citibank regarding the Nostro accounts. They might be having with some other bank in the foreign country, but they want it, the customer wants it to be opened in Citibank. In that case, they can avail the facility of collaboration with SBI. What they do is they will transfer the money to SBI. SBI would be opening the account in Citibank in the foreign currency for Punjab National Bank, which is called as Loro. It's very simple to remember. If you remember the caption, our account of their money with you. Our account means account of SBI. Of their money means the money of Punjab National Bank. Where is it deposited? With the international bank called Citibank in the foreign currency. This is the concept of Loro account. So for Punjab Bank, National Bank, this is Loro account. Loro account, from the context of international account perspective. So when I started with discussing about foreign currency account can be from Indian foreign currency agreement. It means account held or maintained in a currency that is not the currency of our country or Nepal or Bhutan, right? And now when we talk about, primarily these foreign currency accounts can be of three types. One is Nostro, Vostro, and Loro. And Nostro is our account with you, account of SBI, which is with Citibank, which is maintained in foreign currency. Vostro is your account with us in the domestic currency. Citibank opening an account with SBI in the domestic currency. And Loro is when there is a collaboration that is happening between two domestic banks for opening an account in an international context, which is SBI opening an account for Punjab National Bank with the Citibank in the international currency. So that's Loro, right? So to summarize our today's class, in our today's class, we were trying to discuss about international monetary system. We started with defining what is an international monetary system, and we said primarily international monetary system is engaged in managing the international financial environment, and the major participants in this would be the financial institutions, the multinational corporations, and also the other other participants, both individual and institutional investors. Okay. And then we talked about two types of foreign exchange market, which can be the spot market and the futures market. Spot market talks about the cash market, which is taking care of the immediate requirement of foreign currency exchange, whereas futures market or derivative market, it takes care of hedging the future, hedging the risk of fluctuation in the price of foreign currency in at a future date. So that's been taken care through different instruments like options, futures, forwards, or maybe swaps, depending on the need of that particular investors. Then we discussed about the primary functions of foreign exchange market, where we categorize that into three. One is as we say, the transfer function, which talks about purchasing power, giving more purchasing power to the investors or to the traders. And the second one talks about credit function, which helps in financing your requirements from a global market, from a world market, from an international market. The third one is regarding the hedging function, which is an enlargement of the portfolio by making investments in different foreign locations. Then we went into discussion about foreign exchange. Primarily, we went into discussion about foreign currency account, which is an account that is maintained in a foreign currency. And we also discussed about three types of popular foreign accounts. This is Nostro, Ostro, and Euro. Yeah, so we conclude our today's